In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues, sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else. Can't deny it, it's all true. But everybody still wants to live here. This city's always got a promise for you. Might be a lie, an illusion. But it's there, just around the corner. And it keeps you going. It's a city of dreams. And I'm a big dreamer.
I'm back again. Sick of me yet? All right. Well, let's just bring them out. We've got Kyle and Miles from CD Projekt Red joining us to talk about all things Cyberpunk.
Wow. Hey, everyone.
The crowd is into you guys. All right. Well, this was certainly a highly anticipated reveal that happened at the Xbox briefing on Sunday with the hack at the end. And this is a game I think we've all been anxiously awaiting word on from you guys. And the good news is there is a lengthy demo that you put together. Yes. So that we saw that obviously trailer at Xbox and over at a special booth. I think it's a 50-minute gameplay demo that you guys are showing to people,
is this
right?
Actually on?
I think start talking and hopefully we'll hear you.
Say something.
Hopefully
Tell a
we
joke.
can hear you.
Can you hear
if
me?
not, we'll get you a mic. But yeah, we can. Let's talk a bit about your vision for this game. Because obviously coming off The Witcher 3, everyone wanted to see what you guys were going to build. And yeah, it sounds like we've got some fans of The Witcher out there, right? Oh my God. They came out for Poland. And you guys have such an interest. We had Danny O'Dwyer here earlier, and he did a great documentary talking about sort of, the team at CD Projekt and what you guys had built. So Cyberpunk, let's talk a bit about this. I haven't seen the demo yet because I've been so busy. But first of all, first-person perspective, right?
Yes, the game is definitely in first-person perspective.
Yeah.
It's a narrative-driven, open-world RPG. That's the stuff you come to expect from CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're obviously really emphasizing the fact that it's a first-person perspective role-playing game.
Yes.
We don't really want it's
not
obviously
action.
Yeah,
it's action,
obviously
yeah.
we have elements. We have combat, so we're going to have guns. We're going to have a full melee system. But the game is first and foremost, it's a narrative-driven role-playing game. That's the message that we really want to make clear to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what people come to expect from our games, and so we're super hyped for people that people have been seeing it today, and the previews that are coming out. So yeah.
Also, sounds like you're going to be able to create kind of your own character, right, and build that.
Yes, absolutely. One of the key things we try to focus on is, of course, give players control, right? Give players control of their character, the stories, the choices they make, etc. And that's something that we write really, really big when we create a role-playing game. So Cyberpunk will feature a full customization system for your character. You can choose whether you want to play as a male or a female character. You can choose your backstory, and all of that will actually even influence the way people perceive you in the world.
Now, you mentioned, first person, but still RPG, and I think that's something that, as you said, people are wondering about, because it's certainly, Cyberpunk, even the brand, has sort of this action sort of feel to it, and, we think of, the BioShocks or System Shocks or other sort of great, first person, RPG, sci-fi. franchises. How will the gameplay feel, since these people are probably not going to be lucky enough to see the 50-minute demo? Sorry, we're not showing you 50 minutes of gameplay footage, but the panel's not even 50 minutes, guys. You figure it out. But so paint a picture for us of, we saw the trailer. What is the gameplay like?
What I'd say it's varied. I mean, we're basing obviously the game off the lore of from the Cyberpunk 2020 lore.
Yeah.
And one of the important things on that, going back to the pen and paper RPG, is obviously the feeling of choice, as Miles touched on. So we want to translate that to the gameplay as well. So it's not going to be a case of you. It's not going to be a case of you playing one single archetype that you stick with through the whole experience. You're going to have the ability to modify and adjust the class on the fly. We're calling it a fluid class system. Everybody starts out at a base level, so everybody kind of starts out from the same, and we gradually introduce different mechanics through cyberware, and then eventually it kind of splits out, and you can basically, we're focusing on kind of three main classes from the pen and paper. They're the netrunner, the techie, and the solo. Okay. And depending on perks you pick, skills you have, attributes you've decided to take up at the start of the game, and when you're progressing and leveling up, you can basically go into one of these three or kind of combine them in that. In terms of the core loop, with preparation, it's a role-playing game, right? So we want to allow players to prepare same way as we did in Witcher. Prepare for battle, and prepare for the combat or that you're going to have there. So it's not like every sequence is going to be action-packed. Enemies know where you are immediately. There's lots of instances where enemies are kind of unaware, and you can use the gameplay to kind of recon the area, make a plan of action, and then execute. So preparation is key, just like it was in Witcher. So to actually kind of the game's going to be, I would say it's going to be hard. We're going to have a lot of. And I'm afraid it's a shame you can't see the demo, but if you see the demo,
you can show it to us if you want.
There's a lot of it's not going to be. You're going to be at low health a lot. You're going to have to use heal yourself a lot. So the game's going to feel deadly. It needs to feel lethal. We want it to feel brutal. It needs to feel deadly, lethal, like I said.
So talk about combat in first person. We're familiar with lots of first person shooters, action games, but how will Cyberpunk in the combat? How will it feel similar or different to traditional first-person action games?
Well, I mean, the game again is first and foremost a role-playing game with shooter elements, right? While you will engage in combat simply because Night City, the place the game takes, the game takes. All right, exactly. I got it.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, man, and. It's a very dangerous place that you're living in. So basically, you'll have to watch out for danger at every corner. Enemies will try to mug you, to rob you. So naturally, you will be drawn into combat. And in that, you'll be able to use a variety of different skills depending on how you choose to build your character. That could be if you want to use the mantis blades. Some of you might remember it from the reveal trailer, these blades that come out of the arms to slice up your enemies. Or maybe you want to be more of a netrunner type character that uses viruses to upload into their enemies to jam their weapons. There's a wide variety of different abilities that you can use and that you can choose depending on how you want to play the game.
And I think the pacing of the combat and how it feels will ultimately be decided by how you build your character. So if you want to play it as someone who goes to cover, doesn't want to get damaged a lot and is more tactical, it's totally viable. If you want to play as someone who's more agile, we call it the fast solo, it's someone who's basically maneuvering around the battlefield at speed. We have mechanics like double jumping and wall running and stuff like that. So the combat's not necessarily linear either. We have arenas that allow you to move around anywhere you kind of want. So it's really depends on how you've decided to build your character. Will ultimately affect the feeling of how it plays. Yeah. So.
Now, you mentioned choice, consequence. I'm curious about sort of the narrative and how this is going to evolve over the game. What can you tell us about that? As sort of,
I mean, we're not saying anything about the story for the time being. I mean, the main thing that you can take away is obviously it's a CD Projekt Red game. So, as you said, choice and consequence is super important. The decisions you make inside quests while talking to characters, how you build your how you actually build up your character, can massively affect the narrative experience for sure. Yeah. So it's going to be non-linear. and it's it's like what people expect from a CD Projekt Red game. So.
A great game. All right, we've got some questions from fans on Facebook that have some questions for you. We'll see if you're going to answer them, but we'll see what they have to say. The first question comes from Diego, and Diego wants to know, will there be a third-person mode?
No. The game is the game is
simple.
Yeah, the game is exclusively first person outside of a few outside of cuts. We have some cutscenes which are done in so you can see your in third person.
See your character, this amazing character you built, right?
Built, yes, and vehicles. We also have a third person perspective camera.
Okay.
I think the main thing is that.
Tell us about vehicles.
Yeah, we have them.
Okay. We get to pilot them.
We have motorbikes and we have cars for sure.
Yes.
That's about. We're not talking anymore about vehicles other than those.
So
two.
can I drive a car or no?
Yes, you can drive a car.
Okay.
Yes, you can ride a motorcycle.
Okay.
And you can obviously it's not Roach from Witcher.
Yeah.
But you'll be utilizing that to kind of traverse through the city.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that is important for us is that we don't want you to be driving all the time. So we're trying to building the city in a way that it's kind of like internally we kind of call them like RPG hubs areas. And so the city's made up of 6 unique districts.
So like quick travel sort of points.
And and so inside each district we have a lot of you get this kind of sense of claustrophobia, and everything's kind of very close to each other. So we'll have like vendors, and you can find quest givers and all the kind of side content inside these kind of smaller areas, and then they're connected through roads. So it's not like you're going to be driving all the time. We kind of want to we want a player to explore the world on foot because it's such an awe-inspiring place.
Wow.
So we really want you to, especially because we have so much vertical exploration compared to what we had in Witcher 3, we really want you to push you to exploring these crevices everywhere in first person, not necessarily driving everywhere, but
Can't wait to see it. All right.
If I can add to that one thing, because I've got contacted by a person earlier today who was saying like, man, first person, that doesn't even sound like a CD Projekt game anymore. And to that I would like to say, first person absolutely makes sense for us, because our company has always been about creating high quality role-playing games, and only by using first person for this game we've been truly able to achieve a very immersive experience. The player's never been able to get this close to the action, right? We've created an entire new gameplay-driven dialogue system that works entirely because you are in first person. And to those of you who are afraid of not being able to see your character because you're gearing them up, making them look pretty, as Kyle said here, there will be cutscenes where you get to see your character, and also, of course, the inventory.
Character panel,
Right. Yeah. You'll see them. All right. One more question from Facebook. This one comes from Veronica. Veronica wants to know, will there be any form of cooperative play? Any ability to have any kind of online connection to other players?
We're not talking about anything online related at the moment, basically.
Okay. So that's not a confirm or deny?
No, I mean, basically
it's a single-player experience.
Exactly. You're not ruling it out, I guess.
It's a single-player experience, first and foremost, basically. Everything, we want to create a narrative-driven open-world RPG that people want to play from CD Projekt Red. So for sure, its primary focus is on single-player.
Exactly, but at the same time, we don't want to say never to anything. After all, we now have first-person perspective. Who would have thunk that?
Was that? I mean, I know this game's been in development for quite some time, and you've obviously come to E3 to show it to folks because it's reached a certain point. I mean, a lot of the commentary I see online is people are wondering, how close is it to coming out? And I'm sure there's not a date or anything you can share, but this is a big milestone for the team.
Yeah.
So how far along are you in development?
We're far enough along to show it. So I think that. I mean, everybody at home's been working super hard, and we're super proud to be able to showcase the game for everybody.
Right.
It's difficult to say how far along in development because when obviously we announced Cyberpunk, it was back in 2013, and it was we were finishing up Witcher 3, so a lot of the stuff that happened, Witcher 3 took some of the guys away from Cyberpunk, so we've kind of been in pre-production and not pre-production and for a while. But all I can say is that we're moving forward at a really good pace, and we're super excited to show it off to people. So.
we all are excited to see it when we're allowed to see it. All right, well, Cyberpunk 2077 coming soon, I guess, is what we can say from CD Projekt
When it's
Red.
ready.
Yeah, when
Yes.
it's ready, that's the classic line.
No, it's an awesome studio, and you guys put so much care and passion to everything you do over in Warsaw. So we look forward to seeing more of it soon. Thanks to the guys from CD Projekt Red for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic
Thank you very
stuff.
much.
Big fan.